Hello. So, I'm switching over to do a night shift project this week. So this isn't really as prepared as I'd like it to be. This is sort of spontaneous. While I'm trying to adjust my sleep schedule for this project, I got myself into a spiral of reels. I don't know, it's just scrolling on my phone. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But while doing that, I started coming across a ton of things weather related. And it seems like a lot of things in this world are happening today that are extremely odd weather related. There's right now a lot of flooding going on, and I mean, you hope for the well-being of all the people being affected by this, but the scale and the scope of it means that there must be some tragedy here. But there's floods and there's volcanoes and there's earthquakes and there's a lot of things going on. There's another bit about a tsunami coming off of an earthquake. I mean, there seems to be a lot of things going on right now. And of course, there's a lot of reels that you can spiral into that are talking about all this weather as if it's the end of days. And I think about that, and as I'm seeing those reels, I think that'd be a tragedy if this really were the end of days, because I have an appreciation for the Word of God. And I say that, and the Christians will say, "Oh, you appreciate the Bible," but not just that. Think of think of the Word of God as the expression or utilization of that factor of God that is omnipresence. This is Omnipresence is just a part of what it's like to be God. And one of the things he uses to express that omnipresence is his word. I see his word all over the place. One of the most powerful examples of his word is the most atheistic person that has ever lived. Richard Dawkins has done one of the most powerful works through the word of God. Incredibly diverse, incredibly powerful, and it seems almost completely unrecognized by our world today. So when I see things like AI and R coming, and I know that the Word of God is functioning in all of these omnipresent ways in our world, I think of AI and R as this blessing that's coming, the things that I could do. Because right now I'm saving every little penny, I'm scrimping and scraping to set up my office and workspace so I can start using AI. And the things that I'm using this time as sort of gathering ideas for projects that I would do with AI. And this talk just occurred to me, so that's the reason it's sort of improvised and unscheduled, because my goal right now is to come up with and refine ideas for when I build things and I can start working with AI. But I think all these people doing these reels and shorts, showing weather and talking about the end of days, and what it must be like to believe that that sort of thing is coming, the end of days is coming, and to be experiencing something very acutely that is happening in the world today, i.e. weather. And it occurs to me that while it would be tragic from my perspective if this really were the end of days, if this weather was actually a sign of something like that, it occurs to me that there must be a far greater percentage of people who are praying that it is the end of days. And that blows my mind. To have all of this power, this narrative, this great history and story behind you, all of this work to be done. And from the suffering, you pray to give up. To just forget about all that work that there is to be done and just give up. And one of the things I also came across today was this discussion, atheists and Christian going back and forth. Well, why do you believe blah, blah, blah? And the Christians, of course, why do you not believe in God? And the atheist is like, well, because of all the suffering in the world. Which, of course, is something I absolutely thought too at one point in time. I was agnostic. Atheism was too religious for me. But I was agnostic, and I too thought the presence of all this suffering must negate the idea that there is a God. But of course, the obvious answer, the obvious response is, if there is no God, are you still upset about all the suffering? Whose fault is that suffering then, if no God? It's our fault. So of course, you have to ask yourself next, are you open to the idea that this is still all our fault, and there is somebody who's very disappointed in how we are treating our roles as stewards in this creation? Because that's what we are. And if we've given up our stewardship to pray for rapture, how disappointed must he be? How disappointing must we be? But then irony hits. Because think about it. If these are the end times, well, what's another key factor of the end times? And that would be the Antichrist, right? And now all my life, I have lived with the right in this country telling me that every Democrat that ever runs is definitely the Antichrist. Wouldn't it be absolutely ironic if these were the end days? Because who's the most likely candidate for Antichrist right now in our society? Who's the most likely candidate? And who effing elected him? Because, see, this is my pride. This is my arrogance. This is a lack of humility that I am now willing to sign on to the plan that these are end of days because it would make me right about Trump and the Republicans. Irony and lack of humility. That's what that is. Just thanks for listening.